Welcome to This Explainer. Over the next 9 minutes or so, we're going to dissect the brutal economics and corporate realities that have quietly, well, killed the magical free AI assistant you thought you knew. Let's get right into it. So, have you felt like your AI partner is suddenly struggling? Maybe it's forgetting your last message, dropping key details, or just spitting out incredibly generic answers. Look, I'm here to tell you, you are absolutely not crazy. It's not in your head, it is actually happening by design. To understand the actual cause of death here, we've got to look at the underlying math. And it all starts with a massive, eye-watering number. OpenAI's projected loss for 2024 is $5 billion. Yeah, billion with a B. This isn't just some minor accounting error, right? It's an unprecedented financial deficit, and it's literally dictating every single change you're experiencing on your screen. The crisis really boils down to this harsh reality. For every single dollar they bring in, they're spending $2.35. Break that math down, and it works out to burning roughly $9,500 every single minute of every single day. I mean, even with tens of billions in venture capital backing you up, a burn rate like that is just completely unsustainable. So here is the crucial takeaway. The free AI you loved, the one you've relied on for the past couple of years, it wasn't magic. It was basically a heavily subsidized loss leader, totally funded by a massive marketing budget that, honestly, was never meant to last forever. We were all living in the myth of limitless, human-replacing intelligence. But now we're waking up to the reality of expensive, throttled autocomplete. Section 1. The symptoms. Lobotomizing the free tier. All right, now that we know the math is totally broken, how is this financial panic actively affecting you, the everyday user? Well, there's this clever behind-the-scenes mechanism called capacity-based fallback. Basically, free users are being silently rerouted. During peak hours, you're quietly shifted away from that expensive, highly capable flagship model and dumped onto a much cheaper budget version. The handoff is totally invisible to you, but the drop in quality is drastic. This is exactly why your AI will just suddenly collapse mid-sentence and start giving you those generic, forgetful responses. It's a deliberate cost control lever. And to survive this massive cash crunch, the company has had to roll out a survival plan. The real intelligence, the reliable, complex reasoning, is now locked away behind a staggering $2,400 a year paywall for pro users. Meanwhile, free users, you are literally being turned into ad space. And think about this. Because you probably tell a chatbots things you would never dream of typing into a standard search engine, those ads are going to be highly targeted based on your most private, vulnerable queries. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth are they squeezing regular, everyday users so incredibly hard? Why this sudden, desperate panic to monetize the consumer? Well, the answer actually lies with a smaller rival, who is quietly devouring the only segment of the AI market that actually prints real money. Which brings us to Section 2, the failed transplant, the enterprise AI rebellion. So big tech tried to save their collapsing margins by basically forcing these AI assistants onto corporate workers, crossing their fingers that enterprise budgets would just foot the massive bill. But what actually happened was a quiet yet massive rejection. Out of the 450 million business professionals who use Microsoft 365 every day, only a miserable 3.3% have actually agreed to pay for their Copilot AI assistant. It was marketed as the brand new nervous system of the global economy, but workers, they're actively avoiding it. They just see it as a tool that gets in their way. And just look at the fine print in this recent Terms of Service update. Microsoft explicitly admits that their own tool cannot be fully trusted with real professional work. They literally state it's for entertainment purposes only and to use it at your own risk. They are legally treating what they pitched as a revolutionary business tool like it's just a toy. And man, when companies actually did try to use these high-end AI coding tools, it turned into an absolute disaster, a total tragedy of the commons. Take Uber, for example. Their engineers, who were actually incentivized by internal leaderboards, managed to burn through the company's entire 2026 AI budget in just 4 months. We're talking thousands of dollars per employee for barely any tangible savings. In fact, according to researchers at MIT, a staggering 95% of these enterprise AI projects failed to create a single dollar of extra profit. Why? Well, because any time that was supposedly saved by the AI was instantly lost to highly paid human workers who had to meticulously review and fix the machine's bizarre mistakes. You aren't using an autopilot here, you're just babysitting a machine. Section 3. Hitting the wall. The hardware reality. So the software clearly isn't delivering on its promises. But what's truly killing the AI dream isn't just bad code, actually. It's the brutal, unavoidable limits of physical hardware. The cloud is a lovely, fluffy metaphor, but the reality? It's made of steel, silicon, and a whole lot of water. Grounding this AI boom in harsh physical reality reveals a terrifying bill. We are talking about tens of thousands of GPUs that cost $30,000 a pop. And get this, that hardware becomes totally obsolete in just 18 months. Add in the fact that these data centers can drain 5 million gallons of potable water every single day just to stop from melting down, and you quickly realize this isn't just an accounting problem anymore. It's a planetary resource problem. And those costs, they compound dramatically when we shift from simple chatbots over to AI agents that actually try to execute tasks for you. It's kind of like hiring a plumber who charges you his full hourly rate every single time he drops his wrench. An agent loops, it fails, and it retries, rapidly multiplying your computing costs for work that, on strict industry coding tests like Sweetbench, still fails over 50% of the time. Naturally, as all this financial pressure mounted and the vaunted technological scaling laws started to stall, the internal culture at these companies began to crack. Key personnel started resigning. People like Jan Leik, the former safety co-lead at OpenAI, who outright warned the public that crucial safety guardrails were being stripped away simply to meet commercial launch deadlines. So that brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? If the foundational math is completely failing to support this utopian promise of replacing all human labor, how do these massively overvalued tech companies actually survive? What's the end game here? Section 4. The Afterlife. The Corporate Pivot. Welcome to the afterlife of ChatGPT. This is where the grand, world-changing dream of artificial superintelligence quietly steps aside to make room for overpriced corporate workflow software, just to keep the lights on. To really understand OpenAI's panic right now, you just have to look at Anthropic. Anthropic operates almost like a luxury boutique. They are securing massive, predictable seven-figure revenue streams from high-paying Fortune 500 clients. OpenAI, on the other hand, they're stuck babysitting hundreds of millions of unpredictable, highly volatile free-tier users. Trying to build a sustainable business on a free consumer AI model has proven to be a fatal flaw. Desperate to fix these bleeding margins, OpenAI made a truly stunning move. To secure cheaper hardware and to try and shield themselves from federal antitrust probes, they signed a massive $50 billion deal with Amazon. And in doing so, they essentially stabbed their biggest partner and investor, Microsoft, squarely in the back, totally abandoning their exclusive Azure cloud commitment. But you want the ultimate proof that the original utopian dream is dead? It's the quiet deletion of the AGI trigger. This was that famous contract clause that was supposed to protect a nonprofit artificial general intelligence from corporate ownership. Deleting that clause proves one thing. They are no longer a research lab trying to save humanity. They're just a standard, profit-driven tech company desperately trying to satisfy their investors. Just trace the journey across these last few years. We have gone from a revolutionary public benefit project back in 2022 straight into a cash-burning panic in 2024, an enterprise worker rebellion in 2025, and finally, a massive corporate pivot that completely kills the original nonprofit mission. And that leaves us here, as this incredibly brief golden age of free AI comes to an end, and we enter a brand new era of expensive corporate subscriptions and aggressive ad surveillance. I want to leave you with one provocative question. When that trillion-dollar IPO finally arrives, will this technology actually be working for you, or will it just be reporting on you? Thanks for joining me on this explainer.